Hello to everyone. I'm very happy that I'm here now. I have a presentation. Can you? Because presentations goes with my speech, so it will be helpful. Sorry. Okay. Here I would like to share with you some reflections of a victim rehabilitation from a spiritual point of view, which are based on my own experience of working with the victims of trafficking in London. So I will speak briefly about the core of the victims rehabilitation for a spiritual point of view, two examples of good practices, the Medal Trust and the RENATE organization, three traumatic, excuse me, thank you. Yes, I know. Three traumatic phases in the life of victims of trafficking, which are first phase, past experiences and environment, second phase, rehabilitation program, third phase, integration into society. And in the end, I will give you three recommendations how to prevent youth being victims of trafficking. Please look at the left corner on this slide, and you will see a little shining star, a symbolic gift from victims of trafficking as a message to shine like a star in an often dark world. The core of the victims' rehabilitation from a spiritual point of view, I see through these three dimensions. First dimension is a desire of victims of trafficking to be free, to be saved, to be happy, to be loved. Second dimension are our mission and call to be faithful to the mission of Jesus, to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to captives, and to set the oppressed free. This is from the Gospel from Luke. Third dimension is a modern Areopagus, which is a modern area where the joy of the Gospel needs to be proclaimed. In our case, this is a demand to tackle the problem of human trafficking. Significant is a rule of Pope Francis, who constantly reminds us that we should have a sense of mission in the world, that we need to be engaged in transforming this world of suffering, and that we needn't afraid of doing it, and that we should not ignore those who are excluded and marginalized. First example of the good practice is the organization of the Medal Trust in the UK as a light shining in a dark place of human trafficking. Last year I volunteered in their service in London and worked with the victims of trafficking. The mission of the Medal Trust is to support women, young men, children who have been trafficked, providing for them safe housing and services for rehabilitation, and raise awareness about human trafficking. Their values they found in the Gospel: to believe in intrinsic dignity and worth of each individual, to defend the right of each individual, to acknowledge that each person is worthy of respect, to accept each person for who they are, to reject the idea that any human being should be bought or sold, to demonstrate compassion and support for each person, to offer hope for all those they serve, and to help empower each one to fulfill his or her unique potential. After I read many documents and files on victims of trafficking, I noticed that the women victims of trafficking pass through three traumatic and complex phases in their life. First phase are past experiences in the family, in their environment, village, city, country. Chief of the Frontier Service at Cahul, city of Moldova, said, "Our girls are running, everyone is running, and not for a better life, but escaping from a difficult one." In a case of one lady, we can identify some causes of running. She fought for women's rights against the regime in her country. She raised her voice for the right to be educated, right to choose her husband, to be free from wishes of her family about her future life. She was accused and after escaping, exploited in several countries. She was deeply traumatized and silent. And while I was there, we decorated a Christmas tree and spoke about the meaning of the Christmas. There was progress, and she was happy and proud that she had done a very nice job for all the women in this house. So you can see this little picture about our Christmas tree in the Medal Trust in London, which we decorated together. Second phase is a rehabilitation program where we need to be faced with several problems, too short a period for rehabilitation, at least 45 days. For victims, it's too hard to start the process of recovery, lots of needs for them, too many psychological and physical problems, and how to answer victims' questions, where's God in their lives? In this phase, remedies to these problems could be constant prayer, especially theirs, attending a Sunday Mass, singing in chorus, silent presence of supportive persons, struggle to get education, find a motive to go on. In the case of another lady, we saw that despite the sickness and suffering, she became a cook. Her dream came true. And here you can see a nativity in the safe house in the Medal Trust in London, which we decorated. Christmas, the spirit has engulfed us. They loved Christmas and the story about the baby Jesus. But one day it was very hard to look at one lady who came only with the tears in her eyes and the baby in her womb. She fought with herself because she wasn't sure whether she wants the child. Another lady told us that she found in her baby a reason to live. To have a baby was to her a sign of God to begin a new life. We also organized a workshop, making crafts, decorating a house, singing and talking about the Christmas. I could see a joy and happiness in their smile. So you can see a little picture about our workshop. The third phase is integration into society, and here victims of trafficking need to face several threats to the integration as shame, stigma, discrimination, and relationships with the wrong man, second victimization. In this phase, strong spirit, caution, wisdom, and hope could be helpful to them. At the traditional Christmas party, where all the women, volunteers, and the staff, and very touching, was the moment of finding a secret angel and giving each a little gift present, because everyone felt special as an angel and grateful for having an angel. On my last working day, it was a very quiet afternoon in the house. I hung the angels we made, and before I closed the door, I looked once more at the angels and said to myself a little prayer that God may send all his angels to take care for them and never leave them alone and unprotected. So I am proud for serving in the Medal Trust organization, which has a remarkable role in society, helping the victims of human trafficking and to raise their spirits, to take them out of this dark and desolate reality to a happier and safer religion. Give them the opportunity to recover and prepare themselves for independent living. So you can see some of the staffs and volunteers on the pictures. The second example of good practice is a RENATE organization. RENATE is an abbreviation of Religious in Europe, Networking Against Trafficking and Exploitation. Currently, RENATE comprises of different congregations from 18 European countries, and members are religious women and men and lay. Our mission and vision are to support victims of trafficking in shelters, to prevent trafficking, raising awareness, doing training for members, networking and research on this topic, working together in solidarity, thinking strategically, and study the roots of the trafficking. Our motto, yes we can make a difference. So you can see a little picture about the training in the Bucharest. Work of RENATE consists of common campaigns and new initiatives, implementation of the social teaching of the Church, social media, cooperating with the civil society and International Union of Superiors General, cross-cultural experience, meetings and trainings for members. Our president, Sister Melda Poole, once said, I experience God as directing me, nudging me on in so many difficult situations. The power and love of God is a passion in my heart which gives me courage and picks me up in a failure and when things seem so hard. So I'm very proud and thankful member of RENATE. Now I will present you three recommendations how to solve the three crucial problems which are roots of human trafficking, especially of sexual exploitation, by giving you objectives, various activities, how to prevent you to be a victim of human trafficking, and I will give you some examples. Some activities are the same, so I will not repeat them. First problem is equality between women and men. Objective is to promote awareness of the equality of the women and men from multiple points of view. Activities are projects, conferences, media, public lectures, roundtable discussions, publishing, workshops, religious education, bibliodrama, performing plays, art colony, prayer services, and reflections for the victims of trafficking. Examples of good practice could be Social Week in France. There was one topic about the men and women, the New Deal. And one group from high school section for literature and language in Serbia, they are working on this problem. Second problem is discrimination against women. Objective is to raise awareness of the youth about discrimination and violence. Activities are similar in previous, and documents are very interesting, CEDAW and Istanbul Convention. Example, it is a campaign in Croatia, which is recently launched. Third problem is objectification of women's body. Objective is changing the concept of women's dignity and women's role in society. Activities are similar as the previous. An example is my project, raising awareness of religious communities in Croatia for the issue of human trafficking, especially in women, which is launched recently. And in this picture you can see, this is a picture for my project. This is the work of Adina Kero from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and we call that picture Slavery of the Modern Age, where you can see a woman, a child, and men, and hands which try to help the victims, and the light of God who is all of us. To start to solve these problems, it is necessary to include Caritas and Church and cooperate with other religions and denominations, and also cooperate with organizations, ministries, local community, and schools. Please look this teddy bear on the card who wrote "Thank you." This card